Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day taking a look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. We can double check a few key factors here, such as this resistance level that didn't actually act much of a resistance. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell is the resistance if it didn't even happen? And the truth be told, this is just that natural knee-jerk reaction of Bitcoin recovering up to 65,500. Came just shy of our entry at 66,000. So we're going to go ahead and kind of look at, kind of where we're at here. You got to keep in mind, Bitcoin is performing better than Solana is at the moment as far as breaking through the local high. So this tells me there's a lot of weakness here for Solana, and then there's more likelihood for the price to pull back. However, I do feel also that we're going to see 66 to potentially, worst case scenario, 67,000 for Bitcoin. If that occurs, then I think there's a solid chance that Solana will push itself up to the local fib. Now, we're going to have to draw out some newer fib levels here. We'll do that in a minute. Let's pull up the backend data and kind of see where liquidation's at. It's probably mostly sparse based on the simple fact that we have swept a majority of all liquidation. So if we look here, there's not a lot. I mean, there's a small amount of liquidation, which it's still a lot, 100, 200 million, somewhere in the range of 172. But there's really a majority of it's all gone. The only thing left, and keep in mind this is still a distinct probability, is 150 to 155. There's somewhere in the range of maybe 2 to 3 billion as a rough estimate, if you kind of count up all these lines here. So the simple way to understand it is that Solana still has more propensity to pull back than it does to increase. But for right now, it broke through that little level. Not planning to short just yet. I think it's a little premature. I feel like we're going to see a little bit higher from Bitcoin first. And if Bitcoin does reject off 66K, that'll probably be somewhere in lines of this more local high at 171, possibly 174. And we have discussed 176 to 178 being a resistance zone. So we're going to look at some of those things here and kind of see what's up. So daily time frame, let's quickly note a couple of things. First of all, when it comes to, what are we looking at here? We're going to look at the moving averages and kind of see, because if I recall correctly, we had some that were kind of like right there at that important level, which is a 20-day SMA. There we go. That's the one. Okay. So the 20-day SMA being above the price action right now, we're seeing this the price effectively below that, right? Obviously, you can see that. And this is the green one here, if you're not familiar. But what normally happens, because there's generally going to be an ascending trend with that, right? So the rising wedge was a little different. But if you do just kind of draw out like a trend line, for example, commonly what happens with price action when it breaks through a key level such as a 20-day SMA, which almost always will run concurrent with an ascending or descending trend. When that happens, you'll commonly see a bearish backtest of an ascending trend line and the price pulls back. So my money would be somewhere in the range of 172 to 176 being a strong rejection zone potential based on the simple fact that it would likely retest that range, okay? Again, now that's not an exact thing. This doesn't always work out that way, but it's fairly consistent, you could say. And if we do kind of zoom in here, let's kind of look at our points of control here for the local time frame here. Ever since we've been in this range since, the 15th, about 2 weeks, we see the most amount of resistance at 182 as low as 176. So there's a heavy concentration right here. This is somewhat of a sell wall, and the price action is more likely to reject off that level. So easy way to describe it is this 0.236, 176 will probably be the catalyst there to kind of push the price down. If it even comes back to that level, you got to keep in mind, Solana's underperforming Bitcoin right now. And if that is the case, we got to recognize that, okay? Now, I also had these lines in the chart here earlier. Obviously, this doesn't play out. We'll update that later, but these X's on the charts were areas of interest. A short here, perhaps a long there. We reevaluate when we get there, which is what we're doing right now. This may be a worthwhile place to short if everything looks contributing. My guess is it's not, and I just personally feel that Bitcoin's going to recover a little bit more. And if it does, then we'll see Solana continue higher as well. It does have a tendency of following Bitcoin to the upside relatively one-to-one lately. All that being said, the 4-hour time frame will tell us more. Let's look at it. So on the 4-hour, what do we look for? Well, we identify the fact that the 200-day SMA held like a champ, just like it did with Bitcoin, held the price action in place. That generally just tells us that over the last X amount of trading days, the price action is looking pretty good, being above that average, okay? It just kind of tells us there's still more interest in buying this coin than selling this coin at that level. We have a lot of volume here, and we also got that pivot off of that lower 30 range. Keep in mind, we dropped below. Now that we're back up above, you probably should have secured profits by now on a short, right? And to clarify too, we certainly secured profits on our Solana short. So what, AVAX 43, ICP 36, 39 for a second ICP trade. There we go, 32% for our Solana trade. So again, generally the idea right now with our community, based on the way the market is to consider taking profits on no less than your first or even second target. And we'd always set multiple targets because it's important to have destinations in mind when you take a trade. You don't just jump in and be like, oh, I don't know where the hell I'm getting out. I'm gonna go off how I feel that day. That doesn't work well. You got to set a target, work within it, and get out. Okay, that's really it. What I'm getting at here is we have some invalidations there of this descending trend by breaking back up over 30 rather. And that tells us that there's some strength here. We got that natural bounce, which is quite common. A low liquidity sweep, the price action pulls back. That's what happened with Bitcoin, and Solana follows suit. The MACD is not converging here yet, so keep in mind we're losing momentum, but still not in great shape there. Stochastic is swinging up as it typically does, so those are all moderately favorable signs, but they're nothing to read into because of just the natural ways in which something bottoms out and has to recover. What we should be paying attention to is the local highs, local lows, which should be the new high. We can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attempts to break either above or below that. We can see that's kind of a point of contention. So 168 would be the initial barrier. Getting above 168, I would say 176 is the next target. We could pull up our smaller fibs here or shorter time fibs and kind of see roughly what that looks like. Because a lot of times you want to identify fib levels that are concurrent with others, right? So if you got a macro and a micro fib, if they're kind of communicating and speaking the same language, they're essentially the same areas, then you want to respect that. So our 0.236, 0.5 at 176, that seems like the obvious outlier there. If the price pulls up to this 0.5 level, I think a solid short at 176 sounds awesome. So I'm going to just go ahead and set an alert on the chart here at 175-ish, see where we're at. And if Bitcoin's rejecting off 66,000/67,000 at the time, it seems like an appropriate consideration for a short. So I'll post this on our playout chart, of course, to give you perspective, but those are commonly things I like to look for. There's an overlap of key level resistances and supports, because generally you can just see how well the price action kind of just works its way within these levels. It's interesting the way that it works out. Now, who would have ever thought something as simple as a mathematical equation causes this to happen? But it's almost like one of those, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? What's the deal? Okay, so take a look at Ichimoku cloud. We can confirm that we're well below the cloud here. Bitcoin's looking like it wants to break above, and Solana's like, hell no, I'm way far away from that. So the truth here is that Solana is not recovering very well. And like most altcoins, it took a pretty big hit. The truth also is that Solana has a tendency of recovering well when it does. So my speculation is that the 170s is not too far off. We'll probably see that happen in the next couple of days. We may, in fact, see the price action close another green candle tomorrow, hopefully with Bitcoin in the 66K range. And if so, going to short that bad boy. Same thing here as well with Solana in the range of 175, 176. Granted, the way that our luck has been lately, we've been trying to catch a lot of shorts. It'll probably go up to here to like 174 and be like, nope, just kidding, and we'll miss it. But again, I promise you this, folks, in the long run, missing an opportunity is tremendously better than jumping into a bad one. So please, please, please recognize that. Other than that, last thing I can notify you here is that our local point of control at 169 is tentatively holding the price action in place. We do look at the TPO here for yesterday. It's right there at that 169. So again, closing above 169 today would give us an indication that we're more likely to revisit the 170s moving forward. All right, cool. Thanks so much for watching, folks. I hope you learned something today. If you want to become a better trader, as per usual, CryptoCache.tech is the site. We've got a lot of new members coming over. There are limited slots available. We are bringing new features, though, too. Just keep this in mind. We've got a pretty awesome little situation. A lot of folks love it. What you do is you go to coin calls here. You select the coins you want to track. And then you get your trade alerts here letting you know anytime I kind of give you a detailed analysis on it. Kind of like these like precursors to my signals, kind of letting you know what I'm looking for. These eventually become signals, which eventually become profit for the community. So it's a kind of a cool little scenario there that's available for you if you'd like to consider. If not, that's cool too. Learn what you can from these videos. There's probably enough information for you, depending on what level you're at. Last thing too, make sure you take advantage of this exclusive offer for Bitunix. This does last a whole month, so there's no rush, but no KYC or VPN for this exchange, and you get some awesome deposit rewards. Pretty simple. Literally all you have to do is deposit. Cool. All right, folks. Thanks again. Have a good rest of the day. We'll see you next one. Take care.